Is it better? Is it better than last time?
Yeah. I can hear
Okay,
you
good.
perfectly fine. I actually probably have to turn down either A. I'm gonna have to turn something down, or um, do something in the sorts of that. I may have to do that. Take this off
Okay.
here freely. And also, what's up, guys?
Oh, did you start the stream?
Yes, I did. I definitely did.
Oh, damn.
You just got me laying on your shit, right?
Facts. You gotta go. Damn.
Just cover it with this.
I can't.
Go closer to your left.
Can you?
Turn your screen closer to your left.
But yeah, word. It was quite a twist. I can't wait to see what the devil looks like because I know he's gonna be crazy.
I definitely cannot wait to see that,
I'll stay
because
just
then
'cause I love
that messed me up, because in my head I'm like, yo, you're gonna tell me that the Wizard King the whole time has been the problem in this whole
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, that's really crazy. Like
What
this
is-
whole
Give you
time,
some fog effects.
what is
it was
going-
you.
I don't need no fog effect.
I'm gonna give you some
I need some
fog
silence
What
effect.
is going
Only
on?
person I can stay in here is him. That's because you can provide commentary.
What's going on, chat? Welcome to the CTU show. We just got finished discussing a real hot topic about Black Clover. We didn't get into it last episode where where the twist happened. I accidentally seen the twist.
Oh, the game.
I was reading the manga and I accidentally seen it, and it was really bad. It was a bad situation for me because I
Should have
definitely
backdrop together.
Come
Like
on.
1 second, John, because it's the only place
and
where I
it
can
sucks.
see
And it sucks that I had to see it
Where?
Hi, John.
because the Wizard King. Oh man, listen. He's a bozo at this point. At this point, top 5 bozos. Truthfully, top 5 bozos. I wish I didn't see it. That was a sucky way of seeing that. Really bad. I seen it on a YouTube video, and it was like it was in my suggestions, and it really messed me up. Really bad. So what's going on, Unique? We got Crownless in here. We're all here present today. Last episode, we talked about Amber Heard. We talked about the Johnny Depp situation. We talked about a number of things last episode. If you didn't see it, you should go back and definitely watch it. Definitely should. You should definitely check out episode 1. Episode 1 was not a bad episode. To kick off everything. Today, how was everybody's day today? How's everybody's day today? That's a real question. I guess my chat members are not here. I guess my co-stars are not here today. They getting ready.
Oh wow, I muted myself. I'm really crying. And then Unique with the no video. It's like here we will see.
Dang, you make me feel some type of way now. You making me feel some type of way.
Nah, it's all good.
I got some stuff in the background. This is stuff that is happening. Some stuff.
I understand, bro. You gotta take care of what you gotta take care of. No complaints. No, but I was just making a joke. Like between my audio being off and your video being off, it was hear no evil, see no evil.
Right. All right. So. All right. Here we go.
Or we already got the intro, so if you want to say something along the lines of, howdy, I'm here. How was your day?
Yes, my day was pretty lit. I ended up playing. I've been playing 2K mostly all day.
All right. So
I got sold.
I know what it is. So Trayvon started it off for us earlier, but if you could do it one more time for everyone, Trayvon, start it off.
One more time.
One more time.
I got my great co-hosts with me today. I got Crownless in here. Everybody's doing great today.
Welcome. Word. Good energies today.
And today at the bottom,
here
we got low tier Unique, unique story. We got him.
Disrespect. Disrespect. Don't ever put my name like that in your mouth again. Watch your mouth.
Not respected.
We got him.
Come here, Toby.
We got him today, and we got, it's me, it's Trey. We rolling today. It's the CTU show again. Episode 2.
Yes, sir.
If you haven't checked out episode 1 was a great episode. It was a great start off. We talked about Amber Heard. We talked about anime. We talked about a number of things. We talked about games being like, starting to get old to us. Talked about a number of things in that episode 1. That episode 1 was really, really packaged well. Today, we got some great topics today. Just free flowing, probably backing off of what we was talking about in episode 1. Like I said earlier, I got spoiled by the end of the manga of Black Clover today. It was really, really sad for me. Got really, really sad.
You got no one to blame but yourself on that one. So next time, be careful. Next time, be careful.
It was. I didn't want to see it. Like it was one of those things. It was like I was in my YouTube suggestions, and then I just seen it. I just seen the picture, and then it was like, okay, I can put two things together. Like I know what this is. Like it was like, damn. Like the Wizard King the whole time was like, yeah. He's a wing. Now I'm tight.
I'm tight. To branch off of that, I get you, but bro, you just need a little more context. It's like, yes, he is the traitor. You already seen that. There's no looking back.
Mm-hmm.
However, what you didn't see was the events leading up to him being revealed to be the traitor. The reason being was, instead of saying it outright, he showed that he didn't know fully that not only that he was a sibling to one of them, but he didn't even know the source of his time powers. He thought he was just born with it. So what had happened was, not the demon, but the other half of his ego, his darker side, it took over. But the way it did look like the devil was actually possessing him again, to make him become that evil version. So they weren't too clear on which one is it. So I'm in the same boat with you. He may actually be the devil more so than just being the fourth sibling.
Okay.
But we got 3 months to wait, and that's going to be a lot of speculation.
That is a wild 3 months. That is a wild 3 months. And hopefully when the show and everything, hopefully we get this movie. We probably get this movie next year. Probably get the Black Clover movie next year. Everything probably pushing. And it's gonna be. Listen, that show is really, really great. If you haven't checked that out, that is really, really a great show. Really, really great one. It's really, really good.
Okay, all right. I got left off where the season ended. So as soon as the anime ended, that's kind of where I dropped off. I did pick up some pieces of the comic. I definitely like what I see with a fire element or something. A little combat scene that I really liked. And about that, I don't really want to say I was spoiled with the show by seeing that point or that part of the manga, but I will say that it was the manga and the series is fire. I agree with both of you. It's really fire. I think personally I can hold off with the 3 months thing that we said last time. I'm all right with that. I'm okay. I think they should really perfect it, and I feel like they're gonna kill it.
I feel like the show is in a great spot. It's not like in a sense of where My Hero is. Where My Hero, I don't know what they're doing basically with the show. They're just like moving, they don't know when to bring the bad guys in, and then sometimes it's like the imbalance of what's going on with them. It's too much going on, and they don't know when to stop or just bringing a great character in.
I get you. I do share that sentiment. I've been reading a lot of My Hero lately. I agree too. The anime, it's been good, but it's starting to feel rushed. You know what? Both of them are starting to feel rushed, but for different reasons. The anime is feeling rushed for the fact that, they're not doing things to the same merit as the previous seasons. There's a lot of rough frames, a lot of choppy images, like one of the biggest arcs was supposed to happen, the My Villains arc. We were all looking forward to it,
Mhm.
and it just didn't hold the same weight as it did in the manga.
Okay.
And with the manga standpoint, they're literally just rushing the story. Like they're on their last arc. But even starting from where the next season of the anime is about to pick up, like that's when things started to like really railroad. It started to go like faster pace. They would introduce strong characters to have them like die a few chapters later.
Mhm.
No spoilers, but to anybody who knows, I was kind of frustrated to see. On top of that, it's like, there was definitely more they could have done with the series. Like, we still haven't seen them go through their second year. Like a lot of the series was just them in their first year of school. And like for the earlier seasons, that was cool. But considering how high the bar is rising and how far the stakes are being raised,
Mhm.
they should have gave them more time to naturally grow into their hero powers.
Yeah.
And mature as characters.
Like almost kind of like a time, not literally not almost literally like a time skip, but like something like like eventually we're getting like they're getting older. They should have something like that. They should.
Exactly. Like they did do some mini time skips, like some 3-month, 6-month periods, but they definitely should have just been like, all right, let's get one last break. This war is approaching. Like everybody's seeing the anime right now. The next season is going to be the war season. That's another thing I was looking forward to. But seeing how the villain arc came out, it's like I have my hesitation. So we will see. But hopefully they can nail it. I think they'll stick the landing, especially with some of the backlash from last season. But we just gotta wait and see. I think the biggest defining factor will be if a movie is coming out. Like if there's a My Hero movie coming out soon, then like this next season will suffer a bit in terms of finances. But we'll see. They got good material to work with.
Yeah. What you got to say to that, Uni?
I mean, I'm not, as much as I can speculate with some of the things that's going on with Black Clover, I mean, this is a little bit out of my fair.
So you
over to
don't.
My Hero.
Yeah.
Oh, My Hero. I'm sorry, my fault.
I was about to say you don't. I think I remember you saying you didn't like my Hero. I remember you saying that.
Nah, I definitely didn't like My Hero. My Hero is definitely something. I don't know. It's my opinion. Obviously, it's not the majority's opinion because it seems to have picked up its popularity since its beginning. I don't really like. I mean, not that it's a bad anime, but I have my particular taste. My Hero Academia was, I didn't like the main character. The main character kind of started off.
Yeah, like Deku.
A little weak. Like I like manly characters that have a little bit of a history or a past. Pause. So.
No, I agree.
So
I hear you.
I see Trey Bot over there laughing. That's what it is. Nah.
Bouncing off of that, I actually I have a long opinion on that. I agree with you, and I've started to notice that that's become a trend lately. It's like a lot of modern day main characters are a lot more softer, a lot more weaker than how they would be during anime that we watched growing up.
Yeah.
And in fact, at first I didn't really like Deku. I didn't really like Takamichi from Tokyo Revengers. But it's something about seeing them grow into that type of character that they need to be. It's like now that we're here, like just the example, I'll use Tokyo and Revengers since we're not really watching that as much. There's only one season. Where he's at right now in the manga and like some of the things he's doing, you would never think that was the same kid, bro. Well, the same man, technically. You would never think that was the same guy. The one who was always bound, the one who was always saying sorry, bro. The way he sticks up for himself, now, it's crazy. And now that we have the earlier seasons of when he really was too cowardly, too afraid to show how he really is, like now that we have that as background context, it just really brings the picture together, like wholly, and I think that's something to be appreciated.
I don't know. I feel like certain shows, I feel like sometimes they don't really like show like some shows don't really show their main characters having like great development like that, or
that is
other,
true,
or other
right, I agree with that.
other characters, because other characters sometimes they will it'll be like look at Dragon Ball Z for example, where character development, you can say yeah it has it. I mean, the only guys that really develop really in people's eyes, really OD, especially has been like maybe Vegeta, because Vegeta like really became like a dude like where now you kind of see like the sensitivity now. Sometimes you can see him be more vulnerable.
That's the prime example.
I mean,
good.
of course he has to be more vulnerable though. He has to be more vulnerable. Like his type of character, you know, his character just in general when it comes to like productions of stories or the creation of, you know, series, like he's the Lancer type, you know what I mean?
Yes,
he's the person that's supposed to be near opposite to the hero, but not reaching over the line of the villain.
Okay.
So he has to be that like opposing, you know, where Goku is all giddy, Vegeta's all serious.
All serious.
Exactly.
Then he has like a moment where he does do his teaching. He does have a moment like that where it's like where it's him being more of the adult and more being like, hey, listen, this is what I did. This is my mistake that I did like when I was a kid or something like that. Yeah. And I want to change it.
Right. So, you know, like the Lancer and the villain aren't really that different. Like even the villain and the hero aren't that different. Like their origins can be different. It's just the one split point in their story that changes them from being like, let's say like a hero to a villain is like, let's say, I don't know, a classic cliche, you know, my parents died in an accident. You know, he can either decide he wants to be the villain and be like, I'm going to destroy everyone because just to end suffering. He can have like a nihilistic view.
I know, just run the little podcast. You know, feel free to join chatting.
That's like,
you know, definitely like change it up. And, you know, or he can be a hero and be like, well, this is how I'm going to be. I'm going to save people and protect them from all the evil that's in the world in a positive way. Like maybe not that detailed, but it's pretty much in that line. You know, they take two different paths in life, you know.
Let's follow up on that. I heard a good quote actually the other day. Exactly what you just said. You know, the difference between a hero and a villain is how they respond to pain.
Yeah.
When the villain, like, they was like, yo, if you ever notice, a lot of villains, they also have the same type of traumatic experiences as the hero. You know, they lost their parents, their children died in an accident, they have a physical scar or type of injury.
Yeah.
And they take that pain and they say, yo, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna make sure everybody else in the world feels this. And then the difference between them and the hero is they'll experience the same pain, and then they'll say, I'm gonna try to make sure nobody has to feel this again.
Exactly.
You know, and that at its core, when I heard it, it was like, yeah, you know, definitely. But then when I started to look back at other stories that I've read throughout the years, like Berserk, you know, like a Black Clover, like Spider-Man and everything, just general stories from different walks, it was like exactly at its core, that's that.
Facts.
You know.
You know, you got to be careful though, because when you're like, you know, creating a story, you know, because I got into it, you know, I'm feeling like creating my own story, you know, but that's like when you look into it, you got to be careful because you can have a Zuko moment. You know, you could definitely have a Zuko moment where he was the villain but became a hero. The difference is like when you're doing that type of stuff, and this is for the viewers that are listening in, you know, just to make sure y'all know, an antagonist and a protagonist are not, they can be attached to hero and villain, but they're not mutually is it mutually exclusive or mutually inclusive?
There's a really good anime.
So you gotta be careful when you're doing that because, you know, like Zuko was the protagonist for the first season, but he wasn't the main protagonist to say like for the series. The main protagonist for the series, the overarching villain, that all the big bad was his father. So you have to be careful. You know, Zuko had the you know, let's say the bigger badder villain to show Zuko, you know, to be an example, like I'm not as worse as this guy. So who am I? And then he had to go through the greatest character development across comic book anime history.
Sorry, I'm sorry, not to cut you off. I'm glad that you touched upon Zuko. The other day I was having a conversation with some people about him. Honestly, I would argue Zuko isn't even a villain, more so a victim of circumstance.
Right.
Because if you look back at his past,
Mm.
the only thing he really experienced was abuse from his father after his mother died. You
Right.
know, and being a kid with no way to express or outlet that frustration he had towards his father, he ended up picking up the worst traits. You know, not only that, he didn't have his mother an opposite opinion to let
Right.
him know and constantly remind him that what his father and sister are doing are abuse. So when he grew up, he didn't have that good supportive foundation that would have made him see the duality between his father and mother because one of
Right.
them was gone, you know? So in his own way of trying to understand it and trying to look past the abuse,
Okay.
he developed the whole honor complex. You know, that's why he was so fixated on catching Aang and wanting to like do good for his honor because he felt like that was gonna make his abuser, his father, love him. You know,
Mm.
so while at the surface it was villainous activities, underneath it, it was just the cries from a child who didn't know how to express himself during his formative years. You know, and honestly, I'm going right, like you just said, his development was outstanding, immaculate.
Oh,
You
phenomenal.
know, because like for him, not only for him to like understand where he went wrong, but for the show itself to even show us his mistakes, for us to show him learning from where he was at in book one to trying to catch the Avatar, to being one of his closest confidants and friends and allies, it's crazy. You know, like
he was a great character. That was a
He
real
was a
great.
great
That was
character.
a that was a real
The
real
whole
great.
the whole cast was great
Yeah, yeah,
characters.
yeah.
Oh,
Like
yeah,
what?
There was nothing wrong about
yeah, I'm sorry, yeah, that
Avatar
definitely spoke
the last
volumes.
Airbender. There was no bad.
There was
nothing,
not a you know
there was nothing
you
bad.
could probably like super analyze the show for like obvious bad stuff because nothing's ever perfect. Like you can
Oh
obviously
yeah, of
find some
course.
stuff, but as a series as a whole, they covered. You know, obviously there were some things that they didn't really cover entirely, but they covered so much so that things looped around and caught back. You know, things that you didn't even pick up on.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
it was great. Um, uh, Korra.
Mhm. I
I'm
haven't
not gonna
watched
lie.
much of Korra before we get into it. I haven't
Oh, you
watched much, but
haven't
I
watched
have.
Yeah,
it.
me either.
I've seen enough. I've seen chunks. I've seen like maybe the first season. Like I remember them doing the bending sport, and then I've seen a
Right.
big portion of the last season. And then
All
anything
right.
in between, I caught up on like YouTube through commentary.
I'm gonna be very honest. Me too. I didn't watch it, so I can't.
No,
I didn't.
like we
That
could
was.
definitely talk about the themes and whatnot, but yeah,
I could talk about the first
I
season. Like the
passed it.
first season was an interesting
I didn't watch a
season.
lick
I
of the
think it
show.
was. Well,
Word.
I
It
say
was
watch the
good.
first
It
season.
was
You can
good.
watch the first season and see how it is. Then you can kind of gain a little bit of an understanding. I wouldn't criticize the whole show, even though the ratings for the show were like,
Yeah.
going
Yeah.
down, like I don't know.
Mhm.
But the first season was pretty interesting with Korra. Like I found it pretty good.
Yeah, it
Like
was
I
interesting.
mean, having the dude that can water bend so well that he can strip your bending. To me, that was crazy. Like in Avatar: The Last Airbender, Aang was the first person and the only person to do that. This man comes out of the woodworks and is like, "I'm gonna take everything
Right.
you
He got
got,
like
and it's
advanced
over."
bloodbending now. Like that. Yeah, that was really surprising
That
too.
was
That
fire,
whole
and
twist.
but it was kind of bad though. It was kind of bad because I didn't
Yeah,
like the fact
gotcha.
that they didn't need a moon. Like you're telling me you're better than Katara, the Katara, and Katara. Like
I
I don't know
feel you.
about that.
The only thing we got to look at with that is the
And she was
difference in
strong.
time. She was strong. She was definitely strong, but it's more so like let's look at technology 100 years ago versus technology now.
Now, yeah.
Right.
Like the difference is like astronomical, pretty much.
Right.
You know,
Okay.
and like it would just be like that, but just with bending prowess.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like they had 100 years to practice, refine, and perfect his bending. Like off of the greats, like Zuko for fire bending, like the world's greatest earth bender and Toph. You know, you had Avatar Aang being the only but the best airbender and arguably one of the best of each of the elements. You know, so and then you have Katara. You know, not only a master of water bending, but she was also proficient in blood bending, and that would be
Yeah.
something that they would pass on to later generations. And as you see in Korra, like bending has become so commonplace that they use some bending to like house machinery. Like one thing I thought was interesting was they used lightning bending
to
for their
charge
engine.
machinery.
Exactly.
Yeah?
I was
That
like,
was
wow.
fire.
Like,
That's what I was saying. That was nice.
That was really fire. You know, I'm like, back in regular Avatar, lightning
that's
bending was
different.
so mystical. Like, yo, you got to understand your body from head to toe to even do it. You know, and now they're just casually 9 to 5. Yo, okay,
Thanks.
yo.
Making change off that's hard work.
Why?
Nah,
That's
forget about the hammer and the nail. I need you to throw lightning at this machine.
Yeah, like, yo, fuck the
Don't
tools,
play
bro.
with us.
Bending, bro.
Yo.
So they just use they like their bending just for like common use, like just for common
Yeah.
things.
Yeah,
and
just
that's-
like that.
And
That's
like in my head, like
hard.
that's probably like the best way to be able to like become so proficient at it. Because like let's be honest, like if I'm bending for a purpose or I'm bending for something, like, and I'm doing it constantly day in, day out, like that's gonna become so muscle memory that like, in your sleep, like you shoot your own wife on an accident. I'm not gonna say that you hit somebody with lightning, but like imagine Zuko's just like tired one day, just sleeping, just caught somebody, a maid or something.
That's
That's how crazy it could get. I'm just exaggerated, but but yeah, that the first series was good. First season was good. I definitely want to say that the second season, I didn't see much of the second season. I don't know if the second season was with the Airbender.
Yes.
It was the second season
with the evil Airbender, and then the third one was the Earthbender trying to take over.
Right. That second season was where I started to take a dip, because you're telling me that an Avatar is getting mollywopped by an Earthbender. I'm not accepting that. You're talking, even if Korra is not the greatest Avatar, because she really is not. Aang is arguably the best Avatar, because energy bending can be used for a whole abundance of things.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But Korra's not even she's a proficient waterbender, but she doesn't even have blood bending. Like she doesn't have a particular thing that makes her exceptional. So I'm kind of like in the middle. I'm like, I understand why, the Earthbender in the third season was able to wash Korra, because Korra was just her like Avatar state was a little bit like in flux, I think, at that time.
Yeah.
But like, come on, even if you don't got the Avatar state, you got 4 elements. You can switch between the 4 in your combat to throw your opponent off.
I got you.
And to tell the truth, the Earthbender wasn't even a good. Well, she was actually really good. Let me take that back. She was really good. But Toph level, I don't know. In her prime, Toph level, that I don't think she's that high up there.
I agree with you. Here's what I will propose. I won't even say this is the case. I would propose looking back to the first season and understanding the difference they were trying to tell between Aang and Korra. With Aang, he had a solid mental foundation of who he was. He's like, I'm the Avatar. His problem was actually going out and physically learning the elements, right? As we've seen, he spent the season learning water bending. He had a traumatic experience with fire bending. He had to learn to use it. In Korra's difference, she already had the natural ability to use the elements, like we've seen with the first season. Like she was a child and she was able to bend all the elements besides air.
Right.
Her difference from Aang is that she has all the power, but none of the mental capabilities. And that's why the villains were so difficult. In fact, it took me a minute to really realize that, and like somebody had to point it out to me, because I had the same conclusion. I was like, bro, she learned all the elements really fast. She's just as proficient, she has the confidence. And it was like she did, but it was all only surface level.
She didn't have a deep understanding.
Exactly.
So if I'm my fault, Trayvon.
Because what I would say is like every villain that she probably fights is probably like either beating her mentally, they're beating her in the mental game.
Exactly.
Beating her like that.
He was beating her in the mental game. And I remember because she took such a first loss against that airbender that she became depressed.
And she had PTSD from the fight itself. So okay, I understand. Oh no, continue. I'm sorry.
It's all good.
I'm gonna save my response.
I respect that. It was like from there, that had me look to, let's say, Naruto, right? With the Neji versus Naruto fight. Matter of fact, Neji versus Rock Lee, because this is the example. There's a thing that Rock Lee always says, you know, the talent beats hard work wants to beat talent. And it's like in Talent's case with Korra, she has all of the talent, and none of the work was put in to, you know, make sure this talent can be properly manifested, you know? And then also with the mental game, it was like Korra was always rushing into things headstrong, you know, trying to fight through her problems. But all these villains are now more advanced, now more methodical. It's like having a caveman fight Lex Luthor. You know, it's just not gonna work out. You know what I mean? So like all of her, exactly as Trey was saying, they were all beating her in the mental aspect, and she couldn't even compete. You know, she wasn't even there at the table.
No.
You know, she was just trying to back her way and like out element them. But let's use a perfect example, Anon. You can't out element somebody that has the ability to just take your element away. You know, like without your bending, we're even people, and now you have to match me mentally, but you can't do that. You know, because you're
reliant.
Exactly. That was just the word I was about to use. You're always reliant on your power, your physical power.
All right. So that's a great point.
You're not even using this anymore. You're just relying so much on the power itself. Like you're
facts.
And then with Aang, he had the reverse. You know, he could have matched all of them with the mental game. Like let's take his fight with Ozai. You remember how he was trying to meet Ozai from the middle ground and talk the situation out and try to come to an understanding. Like, like if Korra was in Aang's place, she would be washing Ozai. She wouldn't have gave a fuck. She'd have been like, yo, you did too much. We got to go at you. Whereas if Aang was fighting against Korra's villain, he would probably be better suited to sit there. He would understand that. He would definitely understand the airbender. And with the
I don't know about that. That's a heavy. No, it's not that he's a villain, because Aang has been an avatar his whole life. If he went against, well, he's an airbender his whole life. If he went against the Avatar, let's say, not the Avatar, the airbender from season 2 of Korra, I forgot his name. Can't remember his name. His ideology is that the world is in constant chaos. It's not nihilism,
he was an anarchist.
But he was an anarchist. Yeah, he believed in anarchy. So he believed that the world was supposed to be in chaos for there to be some type of order, or order would come from the chaos, because the order now he inverted it. He was like, right now, order is the chaos we need to destroy so that we can flip the tables and get chaos from order.
That's true.
And he had a warped sense from that. So I think Aang would have lost to him. And I want to say badly, because he was a better airbender than Aang was. And I say that because only the best airbenders can fly. You have to have the right mindset of an airbender to fly, and Aang could not do that. Now, let's say the developers didn't make it until the second season of Korra. Okay, the air flying ability, but even so, you're telling me this man was a better airbender than Aang, who was an airbender as well? So it's kind of. I think Aang would have lost in the second season. I think he would have died in the second season.
I do agree. I feel like he would have lost, and that's where I feel like he could have came back and met him on an ideological level. You know, let's say he would probably pull a Naruto.
So
you know,
Jutsu?
Like with the chaos, he would probably how would I put it? He would equate chaos to firebending. Firebending in its purest form is chaos. It's chaotic. It hurts everything, regardless of who you are, what you do. We know this.
Right.
As a matter of fact, yes.
The fire Aztec pyramid thing. I don't know.
And then on the basis of them being airbenders too, I would say that the airbender would at least be willing to listen to him before, like, if Aang was to come, not even just peacefully, but to say, yo, I understand your ideology. Here's how I'm going to equate to it. Being the avatar, I understand each and every of the elements. And now I can look at these elements at an even deeper, more spiritual level to try to understand you. And through that, you'll understand me in a better way. And he probably wouldn't necessarily beat him, but he would definitely be able to diffuse some of his temperament towards anarchy. You look at the fire again. Like the fire was unchaotic, uncontrollable. What do firebenders do? They harness it. They control it. They bend it to their will and to their expression to make something out of it. You know?
Okay.
So that it's like, yes, Aang would probably, I would say Aang would probably so much as agree to him to an extent. You know, he would say, yes, I understand your chaos as the baseline, but from there, you can make order out of it, but you can't just continue to let it run rampant and expect something to come out of it.
So
like with
okay, continue my fault.
Like with Toph and Metal Bending, you know, she had a great capacity to earth bend, but she realized that with metal bending, it took more precision and more precise control to bending this to the to the specifics. You know, like with your ideology here, it's like, okay, you can take the chaos, but you have to harness it. You have to control it. You have to funnel it into something that actually can be utilitized, if that even is a word. You know, but I do agree. I think he would lose the first time. I think I don't think he would try to like all out brawl with him, and that's why I think Korra would do better with Aang's villains, and Aang would do better with Korra's villains. You know, and that's also why I feel like they had to look at Korra differently from Aang, because if Korra already had the mental fortitude that Aang did, as well as the proficiencies he has for the elements at a young age. Right.
She would have probably ended up being the best Avatar.
Okay,
Right.
Then let me ask you a question.
Of course.
Okay, let me ask you a question, because this is where we come into this. This is where we come into this. While I do say that Korra has the best antagonist when it comes to, well, really, I don't even want to say they got the best, but they have good they got good they have good antagonists when it comes to average bending ability. They have a higher proficiency when it comes to bending than the average antagonist in Avatar. Besides Ozai was, the moon comet was on a different level. Not to mention,
that was interesting.
He was technically the best firebender, period, of history. Okay. So, okay. Since we've gotten that out though, do you think that Anton would have tried to go against Ozai on a head-to-head confrontation? And do you think that he would have been successful if they were in the same time period as Anton? Not Avatar, but as Anton. Give Anton the home winning situation.
Who's Anton again?
Anton was or whatever the guy that you said, the bloodbending
Anon. Yes.
Anon. That's Anton. Anton. That's a better name.
Anton sounds like a black dude name.
Anton, I got you. We're going.
I thought he was black too.
Anton.
In the mask, I thought he was black.
Yo, I thought he was black. Yeah,
Anton.
That's interesting.
Funny.
That's interesting. Honestly, I think it would lead to a really big clash, because you got to look at it like this: the way Anon came with his energy was definitely something Avatar's world has never seen. Like nobody tried to unionize the non-benders. You know, it was always a thought. It was always whispers of, non-benders need to rise up. But at the time, at Aang's time, it was more dominated by the topic of everybody's bending. You know, now I'm pretty sure Anon would have no trouble being able to get support. But considering the time period and as well as the comet, he would have a much greater time trying to contend with Ozai.
Wait. No. It's not Ozai's time period. It's Anon's time period.
Oh, if
Ozai in Anon's period.
If Ozai was there, it would probably be a stomp. I'm gonna just say it like that, because if there's no comet to help him, he wouldn't have much support from modern day Fire
Nation. Mm-hmm.
Exactly, considering how much work Zuko put in to make Fire Nation more accepted by everybody else. So like he probably would get some naysayers. He would get a rebellion sparked up because, as I said, fire is chaos.
Right.
He would definitely ignite some sort of like insurgency.
Mm.
But I don't think it would rival the amount of people and non-benders that a non has been amassing at that point. So that's why I feel like it would equal to a great clash. We would have a lot of non-benders versus a lot of modern-day Fire Nation. But considering all the techniques that non-benders know how to do and all the chi points that they learned from Ty Lee and her generation, they're gonna get waxed. I'm not gonna lie. Like if they out here blocking pressure points and now we can't bend, it's like, I don't know what we're gonna do here, bro. I don't know. Plus, not only that, they have to deal with the might of the other nations who now support Fire Nation people and will probably want to snuff out the insurgency before it becomes like 100 years ago. However, they might find some middle ground and join units and try to snuff out Korra, because they both, to an extent, want the same thing. Ozai would want to defeat Korra, the modern day Avatar, and Anan wants to show the might of current day non-benders. So to an extent, they would probably defeat Korra and be like, yeah, we only need the fire bending with the non-bending. But from there, it would be very, what's the word, combustible, for lack of a better term. Plus, on top of that, they're both very charismatic leaders. And in Anand's case, he had another charismatic leader with his brother, and he ended up betraying him. So I don't think they would really work too well.
Oh, I forgot about that. My man's exploded the boat. I was dying. I wasn't thinking about that. Like, I'm like, yo, my man isn't gonna do anything. My man's grabbed the glove, lightning glove, and exploded the boat.
That was really something, bro.
I'm gonna be honest. Didn't Anon do some type of World War II crazy thing? He kamikaze the what was it? The what was it? Bending Nation? I forgot what the city was.
Yeah, it was something.
Aang City.
Yeah, it was one of the Republic cities.
I was like, yo, that's wild. My man's just creating loyalists. Zealots.
Yeah, exactly.
I was like, yo, my man's he's a monster. Cause I'm not gonna lie.
From that too, that's what really attested to his level of intellect, because he was able to do that all under the guise of unifying non-benders. So no matter where he went, he always found support.
Yo, when we gonna
like, yo, you're amazing. And that's exactly why Korra had such a tough time.
What are you about to say? You look.
Yo, when we gonna start unionizing? When we're gonna start unionizing against when we're gonna start unionizing against Tesla? When we gonna get Elon Musk out of here? When we gonna start throwing the shacks at him? Let's start lawsuits.
I don't know.
I don't know necessarily. But
yo, we need an Anon out there. That's what we need. We need him to start taking the fight to know.
He's out here being
brother. He was for the people, bro.
He was for the people.
Elon out here being the best main villain of all time, because he's going crazy.
He's real life.
He's
real life out there.
He's really a main villain, and no one's saying anything about him. Like, he's really a villain.
Because he's doing some Anon shit, bro. He's appealing to the masses. In this case, he's using a lot of memes, a lot of terms we're familiar with. He seems like he's very approachable to like the public eye. And with that, he's still keeping his cards close to his chest, because we don't know how he really feels about things.
Bro,
I'm gonna be honest. He's all over the place. He's got the Tesla situation, the Twitter. My man's denied.
Exactly.
He denied himself. No, he didn't deny himself. He pulled himself away from Amber Heard's case. I'm like, yo, bro, you all over the place.
You want to know what the crazy thing is? He's almost, if you ever watch this, it's actually this show, right? It's called Super Crooks, right? He's like the main character of that show.
Tell us about it. What's Super Crooks?
Like Super Crooks. Okay, so
especially me.
Super Crooks is the Netflix anime. Really, really good. Like the opening story, it's this guy, his babysitter, I believe, was like, he didn't know he had powers at all. So like the babysitter told him to go to sleep or something like that, and like he like had electricity. He blew out the light like in his room, and he didn't know how he did it. Like the whole day, he's like, "Yo, bro, I got powers. And so he tells his best friend, he's like, "Yo, I got powers, and I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna show you how I have it." He was doing certain things, like a dude who was trying to bully him. He turned up his radio and exploded it from electricity. And so when he's like, "Oh, you know what? I'm gonna be a superhero." Like it's like origin story. So he's like, "Oh, you know what? I'm gonna be a superhero." Okay, cool. What he does is, like the whole week he's training to be a superhero, training and everything. But then he's like, "All right, you know what? Today's gonna be the day I'm gonna reveal me being a superhero." He flies over this pool that everybody's at, and he's like, "Yeah," and they're like, "Oh my god, look!" Like, you know, just think like they don't know who this guy is. So he gets like, they know who he is. Like, one of the dudes who was bullying him, he's like, "Yo, that's that dweeb." Like, you know, it's him. Like when he's in the air, he gets too like he couldn't control himself. Kills everybody in the pool from using his electricity powers. Killed everybody.
Damn, Electro.
Then he figures out, like, you know what? Maybe I'm not meant to be a superhero. You know what? I'm gonna be a villain. And the first thing he does, he robs the ATMs because he can basically use his electricity powers to basically overuse it and to get the money. So as soon as he like, eventually there's like a whole time skip where he's like an adult, and then now he's in jail. Like this jail was like all the villains, all of them. His group, the group that he was in, they all had powers. One of the guys had a power that was, I think he had like he had a power where it was bad luck. Where
that's the worst power in the world.
Yeah, I mean, if he can manipulate it, or you know what, I got you, because I see it.
If it's a passive power, it's terrible.
No.
Because if it's passive, you have no control over it. So that means it technically can affect you.
Here's the passivity. What I've seen with people in bad luck powers, it'll be like if something bad happens to you, instead of it happening to me, it'll happen to someone near me.
Hold on. Okay. All right.
And then by then, I'll get their good luck.
Yeah.
You know.
That's
yeah.
I'm
gonna be honest. I'd rather have
it would suck because I can't control it, but in the long run, that would be cool.
Because when they actually went on a mission to like do this whole like rob like this bank. What I think it was like rob a bank or rob this jewelry store. They had a whole unit of heroes that come out to save the world. Like when all this stuff happens. And so he like this big giant dude like is chasing him. And he's like, yo, use your powers. And once he uses it, it's like he uses it, and the helicopter that was in the air smacks right into the big dude, like just smacks into him, because that's what it is. Just you're gonna get bad luck.
What?
It's basically like that. You had a villain with ice. You had a villain that can I think you had one that can like move. You had like one that had like the flash powers. You know it's certain things like that where in like his case he's electricity, so he's the only guy who can kind of like manipulate a few things.
Can I ask a question before you continue? Was he black?
No, he was white.
Dang, I was gonna say if he was Static Shock. I was about to say, all right, we got Static Shock in the building, but no.
Static.
No.
Yeah, speaking of Static, yo, they need to stop playing and
give him his own movie.
Bring back Static, exactly.
Exactly, 100%, 100%. Oh my god, because they just threw him in the comic books, and he looks fire now. He's got the old suit from the comics, but he looks way better. I'm like, glasses, goggles, everything.
I don't know what DC is doing in the sense of like maybe using their side. Like, look what Marvel's doing, bringing a lot of these side characters in. You know, the Moon Knight, guys that you don't really hear about. Like Static Shock, we heard, like, you know, we had the Static Shock show. We didn't get nothing after that. After the show, it was gone. You haven't seen Static Shock. Static Shock.
Oh yeah. I don't know why. I don't know what happened. It was actually a really good show.
Yeah, it was a really good show. But then after that, they never gave him they never showed him again. He hasn't been in none of the DC games. He hasn't been in nothing like anything that can like keep the character